As parents of gifted children, it can be a difficult task making sense of what our children need to grow to become happy, healthy, productive contributors to the world we live in. Part of this challenge is that there is a lack of general understanding as to what gifted children need in their development. So here it is, parents, some of the important aspects of growing up gifted that can make the journey less daunting. When most people think about gifted kids, they often think about their academic accomplishments. But gifted is not just an ability to do well in school. Gifted is thinking and feeling differently about the world. A Polish psychologist named Dabrowski developed the theory of emotional development, wherein he describes a developmental attribute called overexcitability. This characteristic has 5 categories and is often found in gifted people. These categories are psychomotor, sensual, intellectual, imaginational, and emotional. To help better understand the role of these overexcitabilities, you can think of the Pixar movie Inside Out, where the young girl's emotions are given individual personalities and each want to have center stage in the girl's life. Just like the emotions could not be controlled by the young girl in the film, gifted kids cannot choose to turn off their overexcitabilities, because they are a fundamental part of who they are. Parents may wonder how children adjust to their social environment when they may be experiencing one or more of the overexcitabilities. Experts in the field of gifted research reassure us that gifted children's advanced cognitive abilities, social isolation, sensitivity, and uneven development may cause them to face some challenging social and emotional issues, but their problem-solving abilities, advanced social skills, moral reasoning, out-of-school interests, and satisfaction in achievement may help them to be more resilient. This does not mean that parents should abandon all effort to help their child find ways to manage their overexcitabilities, but they should not try to fix their child's natural tendencies. Parents can help their children by teaching them relaxation techniques when they are feeling overwhelmed by their surroundings. An active child would do well to go for a run with a family member or friend, where they can find clarity in their thoughts. Another child might need to know when to remove themselves from a crowd that is too noisy. These are only a few of the methods that parents have found helpful in teaching their child how to live and manage the intensities they are experiencing. Society may not always understand the intense person, but that does not mean that the intense person must hide that side of themselves. Although a gifted child's intensities can be difficult to work with, the creativity that flows from those intensities is well appreciated and admired by society. Ugar Sack found in his research that creative children go beyond what they have read or what they have been told, think outside the parameters of what is normal, and come up with original thoughts. In this interview with 8-year-old Annalise, she shares her experience with writing. She has received awards at school for her creative writing pieces, and teachers say that she often will ask for several more pieces of paper during writing time.
You mentioned that you like writing, and what you kind of received an award for writing. Can you tell us about your writing?
It's an author storytelling award that I got for telling good stories with a really good twist. How I think of it is I take a piece in life and I take a piece that that could happen. I put them together, and if I'm doing fiction, which is a funny story or something that's not real, I take a book with no words and I make up the story of the things, and it's really fun. And whenever you get into it, you can't get out of it. You don't want to stop. If you stop the period, then you're just I think I want to do one more sentence. And whenever the teacher says it's time to go, I just finish my sentence, close it. Because whenever you stop at a good part, it makes it so you want to do more the next day. And it gets you really excited for the next day. And I think it's really fun.
Though many see creativity as talent in the arts and literature, mathematics researcher Siriman shares that the breakthroughs in mathematics can only be accomplished by people that are mathematically creative. One must be capable at looking at mathematic problems in new and innovative ways. One way that parents and teachers can encourage mathematical creativity is to use math skills in other subject areas called polymathy, such as in art and science. Artists such as Roger Penrose and M.C. Escher use mathematical patterns to create interesting pieces of art. In the piece to your right, you will see a highly gifted math student and his graphic designs, which he called doodling. Parents and teachers should be aware of creative outlets in subject areas outside of the obvious arts and encourage students to think about that subject matter in non-traditional ways. In the world of gifted, one of the hottest topics and the most difficult to decide on is how and when to accelerate a gifted student. Many parents ask themselves these common questions. When do I accelerate my child? What type of acceleration are available? How will my child feel about being accelerated? In the document, A Nation Empowered, research shows that early admission to kindergarten has had positive effects. Studies share that young students are well adjusted to their school environment and even took roles of leadership in their classrooms. However, other research recommends that there be an age limit put on to early entrance and that the cutoff should be no more than 3 months younger than the school birth date cutoff. Many parents struggle with sending even their obviously gifted child to school at very young ages. But fortunately, that is just the starting point for options in acceleration. Once in school, students can be whole grade accelerated, subject accelerated. They can earn high school credit in middle school and college credit in high school, along with many other options. A few of the most common acceleration programs that are available are in-school pull-out programs, subject acceleration, grade skipping, weekend and summer camps, and after-school enrichment programs such as academic team and math counts. In this interview with Eli, who is a 5th grader, he will share his experience with enrichment programs in both the state of Texas and Kentucky.
This is in 3rd grade when you were identified as gifted and talented. You said you were in the program. What did that program have for you?
Well, we did a lot of figuring out idioms and puzzles, and we had a certain thing where we would do something and it would be on a board. It would be an idiom and you had to figure out what that, or the phrase, and you would have to figure out what that was. It would have you would have the word all around guy, it would have all good or something around guy, so it would be all around good guy. We had to figure that out.
So you really enjoyed that. If you felt like did it challenge your brain to be able to partake in these kind of activities?
Yeah.
That's great. Was this in your regular classroom, or was it an after-school program, or did they take you out of class at a time of day?
They pulled us out for an hour towards the end of the day.
Every day, or just once a week? How often?
I believe it was every day.
And was it a different teacher then?
Yes, different teachers who would just take us out to a room.
Can you tell me a little bit if
In these interviews, David, 13, and Logan, 11, were accelerated in middle school by taking an Algebra 1, which is a high school course credit, in their 6th grade year. They're going to share their experiences in their interviews about how they felt about that acceleration. I'd like to point out also that Logan was not as challenged in his Algebra 1 class because he knew much of the content, but his teacher, along with his parents' help, were able to differentiate that content to make it more challenging and appropriate for his learning experiences.
do you feel challenged in school?
I wouldn't say so in math. I mean, it's more of exposure that I need than actual sitting down and reviewing what the subject. But as soon as they expose it to me, I pretty much got it. But in other subjects like social studies, reading, writing, not my strongest points. I don't feel too advanced. Science, it's kind of a review and also like how if you review an old topic, you might find something new about it.
Okay. And you said if they show it to you, you usually understand it. How many times do you have to be exposed to something to really feel you know it?
Probably just 10 minutes on the subject of a new subject, like explaining the rules, the concepts. But it's also really hard if the teacher doesn't make any sense, or it doesn't make sense and then goes into more sense. I'd rather have a teacher go easier and build up more so that I could kind of take in more exposure level at a time instead of just a big block and they like slowly get into it.
What are your goals for your academics?
I want to go into medicine, so next year I'm actually taking a medicine like course. And as a backup, I just want to do if all else fails, an math teacher.
So do you know how to get there in your career?
Well, like I said, I am taking a course in medicine next year, or science, but it goes more in depth with medicine, biology, and concepts like that when you go visit hospitals. And math, I'm just studying math every 2 years. Also, my summer camp, I'm taking a math course this year. I'm excited about that.
Logan, can you tell us a little bit about your school curriculum and how you've been accelerated in your school curriculum?
Well, what they have is where in math you could accelerate up to 4 years to a different class in math, and I was in algebra.
What grade were you in this last year that you were in
Sixth grade.
algebra?
6th grade.
And so you were in algebra. Did that difficult?
Not really, because it was accelerated, but it was like I learned that last year already, so it was like learning the same things.
So what did happen during that year in algebra if you already knew it?
So she like split me with a few other people in the class that didn't feel challenged, and she had us work on the same stuff but like harder problems.
Can you give us an example of that?
Like we had my math lab, which is a computer program, and it asked us questions on it, and instead of just asking like to solve x squared plus x plus 1, you'd have like 5x squared plus 27x plus 4. So it's a lot harder than this.
That's great. Did you ever have to use it in like a real world context?
Yeah, we also had word problems, which are like that.
Did that help you to feel challenged in learning algebra in a different way?
Mhm. It was the same stuff you were learning, but you had to think about it in like a word way.
How many kids were in your algebra class?
Like 27.
And how many kids had the accelerated program like you were working on? Two. Who were those?
Me and Missy.
You and one other child or boy? Are you excited to be going into geometry next year?
Yeah, because I think I'll learn stuff that's new.
What are you doing with your summer?
I'm learning pre-calculus on a laptop.
How do you feel about learning on your own?
It's fun because you could like do whatever you want learning. But it's like if you don't understand it, there's like no one there to help you. But I have my dad helping me.
Are you glad that you've been able to work ahead of your grade level?
Yeah.
Do you have any regrets about it? Would you have wanted to do this sooner in your school?
Definitely.
What year if you could go back and change things, when would you have wanted to be accelerated?
In 3rd grade, when I was learning pre-calculus in my pre-algebra. When I was learning pre-algebra in my class with my 5th grade teacher, it would have been easier to learn it if I was in a class of pre-algebra, because then I'd be able to have a teacher teaching me, not just like having split their time.
All right, thank you.
Education is the ability to listen to almost anything without losing your temper or your self-confidence. Robert Frost. If acceleration is the most controversial topic in gifted education, then advocacy falls right in behind it. Being an advocate for a gifted child is a tightrope to walk. It is one that requires both the ability to listen and express your thoughts with knowledge and confidence. Families navigating the world of gifted education hear the call to be advocates for their child in the school setting. But what does it mean to be an advocate? The Webster Dictionary defines advocate as a person who publicly supports or recommends a particular cause or policy. In the case of the gifted child, that cause would be to ensure that they are getting an appropriately challenging education. In the book Beyond the Bake Sale, The Essential Guide to Family-School Partnerships, they state, it's in the school's interest to work with families in this way. Think how much easier it would be for educators if every child had an effective advocate. Our country has the most complex educational system in the world. Navigating it without consistent, caring guidance would be almost impossible for many students. So how does a family go about being an advocate? To be a successful advocate, the book Beyond the Bake Sale, The Essential Guide to Family-School Partnership, points out that it is a quick way to build a wall between school and home to be a loud, demanding, and pushy parent. Instead, the authors share methods that can create harmony and partnership with home and school. They suggest that parents should understand how the school works, and there are a list of essential questions that should be asked to make sure that you know how to navigate the school system correctly. These questions may seem fundamental, but they will supply advocates with the knowledge needed to navigate through a complex school system with less frustration and more purpose. Parenting a gifted child can be beautiful, thrilling, complex, and maddening. I'd like to share a poem by Robert Frost, which I feel wraps up the feelings and thoughts of parents as they are finding the right path for their gifted child. The Road Not Taken. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. But be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that passing there, had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads to way, I doubt if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Parents must make tough decisions for their children every day, and I know that it makes all the difference. Thank you.